Good morning, everybody. My name is Mark Lazelle. I'm the Business Website Director at Healy Consultants Group in Singapore. I have with me today my colleague Praveen. Praveen, good morning.
Good morning to you, Mark.
How are you doing this morning, Praveen?
Amazing.
Good. I'm glad to hear it. Praveen, will you just introduce yourselves to the audience? I know that we've done podcasts in the past, but if you don't mind introducing yourself and tell us what you do at the company.
Okay, sure. So I'm from the client relationship department. So our department deals directly with clients in terms of engagements. And for today particularly, we are going to speak about one of my clients' engagement to renew his dependent passes and as well as his employment pass in Singapore.
Okay.
This employment and dependent passes were initially applied 2 years ago, and they have reached the period where they would expire soon. So we were assisting the client to renew these passes. And generally, the first step was to renew the employment pass, which is the principal holder of the dependent passes, and thereafter securing approval of the renewed employment pass. Then we went on to renew the dependent passes.
Okay. In the current context with restrictions and what have you, there is perhaps a perception in the wider market that these sort of processes take longer now. Was that your experience?
Okay, so everything with regards to the renewal applications was done online. So in terms of delays due to the current situation of COVID, there was not much delay due to the COVID situation. It was just more of reviewing of all the documents that we supplied to Ministry of Manpower as well as the applications as well. So yeah, not much delays due to the current situation of COVID in Singapore.
Yeah, what sort of time frame are we talking about then, Praveen, from the moment the client engaged us to the successful renewal of the dependence pass and employment passes?
Okay, so technically, the engagement when it first started, the renewal of the employment pass would usually take around 2 months. And once the employment pass is renewed, then we moved on to the dependent passes, which usually take about 2 to 3 weeks to get reviewed and approved. And for the employment pass, it's usually about 6 weeks. So that were the rough estimated timelines that we provided to the client. And it's usually the case for most employment and dependent pass renewal applications.
Okay, very good. Obviously, as a firm and as a CRO yourself, most of the Singapore engagements you handle will normally involve company incorporation and opening bank accounts.
Yep.
How common is it to handle an engagement where it's just applying for residence permits, whether it's Singapore or in other countries? Is this a common type of engagement? I think not, right?
Yeah, correct. So this was not, as you said, a common engagement. Usually what happens is a client who is staying abroad is looking to set up a company in Singapore, and they also require visa applications or to apply for an employment pass to be employed and work in Singapore. But for this particular engagement, it was slightly different because the client is already an existing employment pass holder, and his wife and child were already existing dependent pass holders. So they only required our assistance with the renewal of these passes. So we only assisted them for this specific service that they required.
Sure. Finally, Praveen, what were your takeaways from the engagement? Any particular learnings that you'll take into the next engagement?
Yes, correct. So I think as with all renewal applications for employment passes, they are pretty straightforward in terms of what we usually do in the process of securing the renewals from the Ministry of Manpower. We submit the application after approval from our client and all of the required documents, and then MOM reviews the application and then approves the applications. But in this particular engagement, there was a slight delay in terms of getting the renewal of the applications approved by the MOM because there was a variation in terms of the salary of the employment pass holder as compared to what it was 2 years ago. So there was a significant change in the salary, and MOM reverted stating that we needed to provide additional documents as evidence to reflect the change in the salary from 2 years ago to to presently what the employee was earning. So there was a slight delay. We had to gather certain documents such as bank statements, transfer payment slips, and also submit a letter to the MOM to state what was the issue with the change in salary. So we explained to the MOM, and we provided all the required documents, and then they reviewed it again. And finally, they approved the employment pass renewal application, and then we proceeded to apply for the renewals of the dependent passes, and that was completed 2 weeks after we got approval for the employment pass holder. So,
okay,
yeah.
Very, very good. Well, thank you so much for giving us such a detailed and comprehensive and coherent explanation of the engagement, Praveen, and we look forward to speaking to you on other engagements over the next few days and weeks. Thank you very much for your time, Praveen.
No worries, Mark. Thank you very much.
You have a good day. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.